just had a lovely fried chicken.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Student Spotlight. This is our first episode, and I intend on having a new one out every week or so. In Student Spotlight, I sit down with a student doing something interesting or inspiring in the community to try and gain some insight into how they do what they do. On today's episode, I'm talking with Molly Wren, a senior at North Kingstown High School. Molly's on today because she recently starred in the school musical, Mamma Mia, as Sophie. The production has largely been seen as a hit all around the town thanks to the entire cast and crew, but today we focus in on the musical's lead to try and find out about some of its inner workings and what it's like to be in that position. So Molly, if you want to introduce yourself, tell everyone a little bit about your previous dancing or theater experience, go right ahead.
So my name's Molly Wren. I'm a senior, and I have been dancing for like 16 years. I've been a part of the junior company at Providence Ballet Theater for about 8 years. And I've been doing theater for as long as I can remember, and I've been lucky enough to contribute to part of like the writing and directing experiences, so that's kind of cool.
You've been dancing for 16 years?
Yeah, a long time.
Could you walk?
Yes.
Okay. All right. When you initially got the lead in Mamma Mia, how did you feel about that, and how has that perspective of you as the lead evolved throughout the show's production?
I was really excited, but I remember also being super nervous. I think quarantine put a big hit to my confidence. So that was the first time where I was kind of put in a position where I had to like take initiative of like my brain and say, okay, you gotta get a hold of this and figure out how to control it so it wasn't as scary. But all in all, I was super excited. So
Yeah, building off of that, you weren't in the last musical, Jekyll and Hyde, were you?
no.
Did you do any sort of, between quarantine and Mamma Mia, did you do any other sort of musical theater, anything like that? Or was it a break for you?
So I kept dancing, and I was still a part of ballet theater. And I had directed and choreographed a few kids shows over the summer. And so like I was still very involved, but not directly with NK Music Department.
All right. So how has this year's experience with you as the lead of the show differed from previous productions that you were in?
So I was lucky enough to be a part of the musical as a freshman, and a lot of our leads this year were also able to be there for the entire 4-year segment. So we all got this idea and sense of community that like we all knew it was supposed to be that way. So when we got to our senior year, we kind of all made a pact that it was going to be little drama, and that, you know, the leads kind of take initiative with the rest of the cast and make sure that, you know, there's no drama and people are getting along and people feel included. So I feel really lucky with the way this cast worked, just because everyone was super mature, and I feel like we all got along great. So there's very little drama, especially towards the end. We got our act together and everyone kind of came together. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good, because I definitely have heard in past years that drama has been kind of a problem amongst the theater department, and it's good that you guys actively tried to take this role to minimize that as much as possible. Was there anything in particular that you did with that, or what?
There was a lot of group bonding stuff, like whether it was positions where we were forced to have each other's backs, or, you know, we definitely made an extra effort to, you know, hang out outside of it and understand that we've got enough on our plates. And so making extra problems backstage is only going to make it worse. And we were in there, the circumstances this year were particularly hard. Like the recording process was insane, and we were not going to have a finished product unless we, put whatever problems we had aside and got down to business.
Really? What made this year's recording so much crazier than previous years?
So usually when you go to see a musical, it's just everyone sings on stage, and you're expected to do the dances and the singing. But because the choreography for Mamma Mia was so intense, I guess, there was a lot of singing that we had to pre-record. So there was double the vocals. So we'd sing on stage and have the pre-recorded ones. There's also a lot of in harmonies. So we had to pre-record all the harmonies. And there was one song, I think Voulez-Vous had like 5 different parts. And it was really insane. And I mean, if you went to go see the show, there were times where we were upside down singing. So it was definitely hard.
That's crazy. I didn't know that there were like previous recordings and layered tracks and all that with the musical. That's insane. Yeah. But I guess that leads sort of into the next question, which is what, if any, hardships or pressures did you face when being in the musical? Whether it be alone or as a group or what?
Yeah, so definitely the recording process. It was just insane. Like one person would like exhale too loudly and we'd have to redo it. And so that was like humorously bad. More like generally, I think the time commitment would be the safest like thing to go into. You have to drop everything for this in a lot of cases, especially this year. And so understanding that the people that you're around are going to be the people that you're spending these 12-hour rehearsal days with, you do have to go in with an understanding like, okay, I'm going to be a peaceful person. I'm going to be on good terms with everyone, be approachable and friendly, even when you get 3 hours of sleep and had a test that day. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that seems like such a hard thing to do because it's almost like you're predisposed to be annoyed, especially at the end of that day, like frustrated and stressed out, but just trying to maintain that peaceful mindset.
Yeah, but it's a good skill for everyone. Like we all probably need to get back into the swing of being around people for the most part, but more importantly, like how to be just approachable and tolerable, like having a patience that like this whole process is you have to learn how to understand people and be patient with them and understand that you can't just pick a fight whenever you want. So it's good for a lot of people.
Yeah, I guess there's so much going on behind the scenes, even just amongst people. But yeah. So what was your favorite process of the entire show from the whole thing, all the way from being cast in the beginning to closing night? What was your favorite part?
For me, I mean, everyone else in the cast would probably disagree with me. But I loved the dance rehearsals. That was when we just sit in the auditorium and wait for our names to be called up to go sit on stage. And sometimes we'd be there for 8 hours and you just wouldn't get a chance to sit down. And everyone's trying to decode this choreography, which definitely was hard sometimes. But like we've all got the same understanding of, okay, let's just get this done, let's run it. And sometimes we'd get so frustrated, but it's so good to have everyone on the same wavelength and everyone was a part of something. And it's such a great feeling when everyone feels important and like useful, like their talents are always needed in the dance rehearsals. So yeah, that's probably my favorite part. I also like dress rehearsals, but that's just me.
Yeah. It's so crazy to me how long the rehearsals and the auditions and everything will just go for, because I feel like you don't hear about anything really besides theater practicing for that long. So
Yeah.
could you comment on that at all, like the length of rehearsals?
So, length of rehearsals is like you're not necessarily being used the whole time. However, there's there's so many moving pieces, and people who have only been a part of cast may not understand like what goes on in tech, but people are building sets around the dances that go on. People are like cueing lights to make sure that everyone's face is seen and certain pieces are highlighted. So like there are times where we may not be necessarily doing the dance, but we have to be on stage at the time, so that way people can say, oh, this person's in this spot at this time, so I need to have a certain light cue or a certain sound cue. So there are so many things that go into it that we don't even think twice about, and that's why the rehearsals are so long. So,
oh my gosh. All right. So, do you have any advice for any aspiring theater students who might be gunning for a lead role in the future, or anything similar to that? Just any theater students, people trying to be in the musical or trying out for some sort of role?
yeah, so this is a big thing for me. Understand that getting a lead is not about who has the most experience or who has the most talent, but like somebody might just fit a role better. So don't throw a fit if you don't get a lead, because it doesn't mean you're not talented and it doesn't mean that you didn't work hard, but just like be happy for the people around you, and like try to encourage them, because in the end, everyone learns the same thing, which is that they want the finished product to be as good as it's going to be. And if we can encourage each other to like, you know, get the finished product up, if everyone puts in everything they can, then it usually ends up going really well. And so, like, if you want to audition for a lead, that's great. If you want to be ensemble, that's great. If you don't end up getting the part that you want, it's still going to be so fun. And as long as you put in whatever you have to offer, like, your presence is still going to be so important on stage, and it's going to contribute to the quality of the final product. So just put in what you have to offer, because every ensemble member, I mean, there's a few people in the cast that I could literally just mention that just glow on stage, and it would not be the same quality without like a good, strong ensemble. So
Yeah, I talked to a lot of people in the theater department. It sounds like all the way from the ensemble to the lead, it sounds like everyone gets the same amount out of the show at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
All right. And just one final question for you here. Do you have a favorite memory or anything to share? Anything else you want to share about the production of the show, or about your years of theater here at NKHS? Because this is your last one.
Man, that's sad. I think, I think there's a lot of memories I have. I mean, just Q to Q with my seniors, and dance rehearsals and shakedowns with them. Also, I just have to say this: the upper class in the cast, all of the upperclassmen are super close, and we've been like trying to bond together and work outside of school, even with schedules. And we've been hiking together, which has been awesome, and it's so nice to know that people have put aside their differences, and the show's kind of brought us together, and it's not just like the theater that's holding us together at this point. Like it strengthened the bond, it kind of brought us together, but it's not the glue anymore, which is really nice.
Yeah, no, that definitely was nice. And that's about it. That's going to be a wrap on today's episode of Student Spotlight. I'd like to once again thank Molly Wren for joining us today. If you just so happen to see the musical and love Molly's performance, you can follow her music account on Instagram at mollys.music. That's music with 2 U's. Is there anything else you wanted to shout out?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Any other accounts or anything?
Oh, no, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah. So for more episodes of Student Spotlight and other videos and articles on whatever I feel like, you can head over to thebenjablog.com. I'll be updating the website multiple times a week with new content, so make sure to check it out. You can also follow the Instagram account at thebenjablog to be the first to know about future articles and videos and when they're released. That's all I have for you today. This is Nick Benjamin of thebenjablog.com, and thanks for listening.